You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Inside Real Estate. Welcome to another episode. You've got myself, Paul Apostolakis. You've got Brad Weisgerber. You've got Salvatore Cusmano coming on here in a moment. Again, for those of you that have found us for the first time, welcome to Inside Real Estate. Those of you that have been here before, thank you for coming back. Please like, subscribe, share, and also leave us a review. That always helps us with our podcast. You can go to irepodcast.com to find us. You can go to Facebook.com/IRE podcast to see us live. You can go to YouTube to see us live, or you can go and listen to us on any podcast app that you feel like you want to listen to us on, because we're on all of them. Well, Mr. Bradley, as we wait for Mr. Salvatore to come on, talk to you a little bit about our guest. It is Mr. Michael Phillips from Keller Williams Legacy in Dearborn. This guy's got a pretty good history, man. He lived through the correction of 2008. They do about $25 million in production. He's been in the industry for about 22 years. Really smart guy. We're going to talk to him about how he got into the industry. He also has a good perspective, since he did live through the 2008 crash. He also has a good perspective on, if we have a correction coming up here, how you can either take advantage of it or live through it. It'd be interesting to see what he has to say about that. One thing that's been interesting over the last week or so is that rates have crept up, Mr. Weisgerber, like you said that they were going to, right? Yep. And it has slowed down a little bit on the on mortgage applications quite a bit.
Sure has.
Yeah, it has. So we'll talk about that. But how do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's gonna be a long-term trend here?
I mean, I feel like we knew it was coming, and I feel like it always kind of happens a little bit in the winter where we slow down. Applications slow down in general in the wintertime, and we're getting to that point. So I feel like we're probably going to see even fewer applications over the next month or two. So I think
but you always tell me that you're always one of the guys that says that interest rates don't affect applications, and they don't. People, but they are affecting.
Anecdotally, I mean,
they are.
Just because interest rates went up and mortgage applications went down doesn't mean they're correlated. Every year around this time, we see applications go down.
That's a fair statement. So as we wait for Sal to get on the show, I want to bring on Mr. Michael Phillips from Keller Williams Legacy. Welcome to the show, my dude.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you guys having me here. I'm excited. Absolutely,
man. So, Michael, obviously you've built a good business there. You've lived through the 2008 crash. So we'll talk to you about that. You guys have, you guys are doing $25 million in production. You've been in the business for 22 years, a lot of great experience. So we'll talk to you a little bit about that. But first and foremost, since you're new on the show, how did you get into real estate, my dude? Like, most people don't wake up thinking they're going to do real estate right off the bat.
Really great story. And I love sharing my story, because I believe there's so many people out there that can look at my story and say, hey, that's, an avenue that I can take. And if I can just pick up on some of these, key points that Mike hit on as he grew into this role that he's on today, I can, live an amazing life through real estate. Instead of, that normal path that we're taught, you need to go to a university and you need to get a degree and become a doctor or become a lawyer, that many of our parents kind of like push us to. There's other avenues out there. And in our industry, you can really live an amazing life if you separate yourself from the pack. And what I call don't be average, don't be normal. If you have an unnormal work ethic, an unnormal grind, and you kind of separate yourself, you can do and live the most amazing life in our industry. And I'm happy to share my story because it's repeatable. It's something that anybody can do. You just have to have that desire inside of you to do that. So I'll kind of start a little bit about myself. Born and raised in the south end of Dearborn, Michigan. That's underneath the shadows of the Ford Rouge plant. My dad's family moved up here from North Carolina to work at that plant. And my mom's family, Lebanese family, immigrated from Lebanon in the early 1900s to work at that plant as well. So my mom and dad met there. So I'm a combination of really what exactly Dearborn is. Middle Eastern, half Lebanese and half German Irish mix, which my dad is from North Carolina. So you're looking at Dearborn right here.
It's Dearborn, just so everybody knows nationally. I mean, if you haven't heard, Dearborn is a melting pot. It is has a huge Arab population, the largest in the United States. So if you're not aware, if you're listening outside of the state, it is a heavily Arabic populated area here in Michigan. Some of the best restaurants and food in the area, by the way.
Oh yeah,
it's the best.
Would love to host anybody when coming to Dearborn to get a sample of that food for sure.
The food is amazing. So you're a product of basically. I mean, you're a product of what America is. It's a melting pot of people, really. And so you grew up in Dearborn. And so tell me how you started gravitating. Now you said our parents always want us to be doctors. Like my mom always wanted me to be. You have to be a doctor, right? My mom's foreign, so that's her accent. Yeah. So
I think that's an immigrant thing.
It is,
because
especially Arabic. My mom's Arabic.
My
mom's Chaldean, right? So she was like, "You have to be a doctor or lawyer."
Well, my mom's still telling me, like, Mike, don't you want to go back to school just so you have something to fall back on? I'm like, I'm good, Mom. I'm not falling back on anything. I'm moving forward.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My mom was an outstanding house mom, kind of like a mom to the entire neighborhood. She used to drive a lot of kids from our neighborhood around to different sporting events and all those things. My dad was a corrections officer. I have 3 siblings, older sister and a younger brother, younger sister. We grew up on very meager means, and I realized this as a young age. And, I started shoveling snow in the neighborhood, cutting grass, doing whatever I could to help the family. So that work ethic kind of got instilled in me in a very young age. I knew I needed to create and I needed to move. And that kind of, stuck with me through high school. And then in high school, I met my current wife. And one lesson that I can teach and that I learned from is no matter how much we plan in our heads, life is supposed to be, life is going to throw its own curveballs and plans at you. So when I was 21 and my wife was 18 years old, life threw a curveball at us of her actually getting pregnant with our first child, Steven.
Yeah.
And that happened right away. My mom and dad were like, okay, guys got to get married and you got to do it the right way. And so they pushed us to a really, young marriage, which I'm proud to say we're still together, still married with three children. But that kind of that happened to me at 21 years old, kind of like put getting a degree in college kind of to the side burner. I knew that, I had a family to provide for. So at the time I had started a valet parking business and I had owned a couple lots and I was actually doing pretty well in that, working myself 5-6 nights of the week. But I knew there was something greater for me. And I just started researching, like, what can I do without actually needing to go back to school and get a degree? And I found that in real estate was an opportunity. So at 25, I went and got my real estate license, and I started my career at Real Estate One in the late 1998, early 1999. And, I would start learning the real estate business during the day, parking cars at night. Had pretty good success my first year, started getting recruited by a couple of the brokerages in the area, 2 RE/MAX offices. Ended up choosing to move my business to RE/MAX Team 2000, West Dearborn, and started growing my business there. And I would, for about 5 years, I tell this story inside of my market center now. I would park cars at night, work during the day, and I tell a lot of newly licensed agents, try to have another job that can actually, especially if you have bills, monthly obligations that you need to meet. Our industry, it's going to take a minute to get those wheels going and to get some steady income going. So do a second job. Most of the most successful agents that I know all did that early in their career. So I would learn the business during the day, park cars at night, to provide for my family. And after about 5 years, I thought, hey, I got this going. I think I can give this valet parking business up and just go real estate solely. And I was wrong. I did that, and I was wrong. And I ended up, you ride these waves in our industry. You're high and you're low, and you're high and you're low.
Yeah.
So, I crashed a couple times, but in those crashes, I learned important lessons of, why did I crash? Why did my business crash? What did I stop doing when I was on a high? That those lead generation activities and that consistent work ethic that would ride me through those times and most importantly, managing your money, which most of us in our early 20s really don't know how to do. We hadn't been taught that. Right. So I crashed a couple times, learned how to rebound from there. And then I would say it was about 2006, after I crashed hard in about 2004, I learned, like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't
Right.
like crashing now. At this point, I had two boys, children, that I don't want to crash anymore. I want to keep rising. And, I was looking at some of the more successful people in our industry and just learning from them. And for me, the most important thing was learning how to manage my money. And once I kind of learned how to manage my money and just to save a little bit on the side so I can have what I call like oxygen, so I can breathe and not really worry so much about how am I going to pay my bills, just knowing that reserve was there, that I can just focus on improving and growing my business. I started doing that 2006 and then 7, and then boom, market crash, right?
Yeah.
I seen that coming because I was going on listing appointments and I started doing my net sheets and started seeing that, I can't sell this seller's home and then pay the real estate expenses without them needing to come to the table with money. So it was at that point that I had heard something called a short sale. So I just, after the third listing appointment I went on, that I pretty much told the seller, if you don't have this money, I can't help you. I said, there's going to be, either I'm going to go out of business here or something has to change. So I dialed up Bank of America and asked them, is there something called a short sale? I want to help this client out, but they don't have the money to pay the loss. And they told me, yeah, there is. And at that time, everything was by fax. They faxed me like 40-page documents of here's how this process is going to work. Well, I dug into it. I dug in, and this was in the beginning of the collapse. And then as I started learning that process, then the market really, really collapsed, and I just took the lead of many of us at that time either became an REO bank agent or the others went and learned the short sale process. I kind of like took the lead of learning that, and not only learning that, but actually teaching what I learned not only to the brokerage that I was at, to every agent in there. I started teaching it to agents from outside of our brokerage. And what happened for me during that time, one, I just really loved helping homeowners out that were in big trouble and get them out of it. Like the gratification I received from that was way greater than the commission. Secondly, teaching kind of lit a fire in me of wanting to teach and enjoying to teach, that said, one day I might want to own my own brokerage. So as I started going through that phase, I kept inside of me the desire to one day become a broker and own my own brokerage, and just really preparing myself financially for that move. And so I kept growing my business. We ultimately ended up growing out of that short sale crisis. During that time, I actually ended up buying a few properties of my own, which I'll talk about on a little bit, and how those properties that I bought during that collapse ended up helping me to get where I'm at today. But I then started growing my business as garnering a reputation in the community of somebody who understands, is very knowledgeable, really cares about his clients, cares about his name and his brand. And that really started propelling me to become one of the top listing agents in Dearborn. And about, I would say it would be late 2017, I received a phone call that Keller Williams was looking to set up a brokerage in Dearborn. There hadn't been one, and there should have been one probably since like late 2010. I'm totally shocked there wasn't one. I guess,
Well, it's a big market. I mean, there's a lot of transactions that happen in Dearborn.
For sure. A lot of transactions, a lot of great agents. And I guess it just turned out to be that no agent from Dearborn actually wanted to take that financial risk to open up a company that actually shares its profits with its agents, because you need to have a lot of agents in our business model to actually be a profitable a business. So to me, it was just a calling that I had been waiting for. And I told them, yeah, I'm interested in learning more. So we started working on that. I ended up, signing on to take that risk and launching the franchise in Dearborn. God brought me an outstanding opportunity with the location that we're at, that I jumped on. And at this point, my two boys, I have three boys, but the two older ones at that time, I told them, guys, I'm gonna take a risk at something. I'm gonna take a shot, and if it doesn't work, it might make our life a lot tougher than it's been. So, but I'm going to go for it. And then they told me, Dad, we have confidence in you, and do it, go for it. So I kind of put my whole financial future, my financial future up to that point on the line launch this brokerage because I had confidence that I can do it. I had confidence that, you know, agents from the community who know me and who had worked with me would want to be in that environment. I loved with what KW as a brokerage offered. It matched who I am with, you know, they're heavy on training, heavy on culture, heavy on doing things the right way, and believing in success through others and win-win or no deal. Those are things that I take very, very serious in my business. So we launched our market center in downtown West Dearborn in July of 2019. We grew that market center from, you know, me being the first one agent to today we're at 155 agents.
Wow.
The brokerage this year, our goal was to do 300 million in volume, and we just hit that this year, this past month. So we hit our goal for 2021 with 3 months to spare. So we're really excited about the future growth of the company. Also, in joining KW, I learned a lot about KW and what they are masters in, and that's building teams and building big businesses. So I started my Michael Phillips Group team just this year. I have on my staff, I have 3 admin and 6 buyers agents now.
Wow.
And that growth, I know you said when we started 25 million. Well, actually, the goal for the Michael Phillips Group sales team this year was 30 million, and we're going to go over 30 million this month. So
That's
everything
awesome,
is
man.
just on a great trajectory forward. I'm really excited about the future for our team, our market center, our agents' growth has just been absolutely phenomenal, and of course for my Michael Phillips Group team. But I gotta say, on this journey, I've just been blessed to have some of the greatest people kind of just get attracted to our market center, and some of the outstanding agents that have joined us. You know, we won't be KW Legacy without them. And then my team, you know, my staff, MCA, team leaders, my admin, my all of them. They're just,
Well, you can't do it without a good team, man. You got to put together a really good team. So, you know, it's funny because you're in a very, like, Dearborn is kind of a bubble here in the Metro Detroit area. Like, you can't, like, outsiders, like, I couldn't go into Dearborn and become a real estate agent. I feel like unless I had some roots in the city, it's kind of hard to, like, break into Dearborn unless you've got the roots in the city. So talk to me about recruiting. Is it hard to recruit agents, or are they finding success even if they're not, you know, if they're coming into the market?
So you understand Dearborn, because when I was launching, so Mike Perna, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mike Perna.
I know Mike.
Perna is a mega agent, 100 million plus team in Northville.
Yeah.
He was one that was looking to be an investor in the Dearborn Market Center, and he told me he had his ISAs call to try to set him up with appointments with agents in Dearborn to launch a market center for 2 weeks straight, and he couldn't get one appointment.
That's what I'm saying.
So Dearborn is very guarded to anything from the outside coming in. So for me, the recruiting wasn't as hard because like I said in the beginning, I am Dearborn. They'll take that call from Michael Phillips because they know who I am. I'm one of them.
Right.
It was difficult in selling a new system to a very comfortable, established territory, with having a very large, probably one of the largest in the country, Century 21 offices, and 2 outstanding RE/MAX brokerages. So to kind of build something in and amongst them, it was challenging.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know Dearborn, and I know it's hard to break into that. It's almost like Sal, like Grosse Pointe is pretty closed off. You got like Rochester's closed off. Like, you got these little bubbles, like even like Birmingham, and it's kind of closed off. But Dearborn, out of all of those, Dearborn has its own economy, man. Like Dearborn, if you're from Dearborn, you work with people from Dearborn, you get your groceries from Dearborn. It's a whole different mentality in Dearborn because it is their own little world there. If you live there, you understand it. So
we joke sometimes, especially with East Dearborn. We joke sometimes like the contract is just a suggestion. So you gotta understand it and how everything works and flows, you know, to get everything done right. But it's a beautiful place, and a big part of the mission that I was on was I always felt that Dearborn, from the outside looking in, had almost an undeserved reputation of like who is Dearborn and what is Dearborn. And I kind of wanted to raise that bar and bring to light that no, there are some of the most outstanding professionals you will ever meet here. Very hardworking. I like to say, like, if you can make it here, like you'll make it anywhere. So it's something that I take a lot of pride in, and I wanted to help bring to good light.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You see a lot of people coming in for Ford, given that.
Yeah. I mean, just so outside people understand that Ford has a big plant in Dearborn. Obviously, Dearborn's headquartered. I mean, they're headquartered there, and so there's a lot of Ford employees. So you probably see a lot of that, Mike, right?
For sure. So just 2 blocks down the road, Ford invested, I think it was like $50 million in 2 buildings where they were going to house their employees on the top of, and then below they had restaurants and retail space. But when COVID came, they actually moved them all out of there, and I don't think they're coming back. But Ford is probably the main catalyst of the Dearborn economic community for sure. So
Right. So what do you see? So obviously you lived through the original 2008 crash. You found a way through it by working on foreclosed properties or distressed properties, going through and doing a lot of short sales. So you kind of worked your way through that, figured it out, right, Mike? Now that we're coming into a massive, since then we've had obviously a lot of growth in the real estate market, and especially over the last 2 years, we've seen exponential, like very high growth, 20% growth year over year. Do you see that continuing, or do you see another downturn coming where people could take advantage of it if they know what they're doing?
I don't see anything remotely close to what we've experienced because So a quick story leading up to that first crisis. We were closing transactions where I remember I was closing a gentleman at $350,000. He wanted to write on a $350,000 purchase, and I asked him for $1,000 EMD, and he told me I don't have it. And I'm like, how are you going to buy a $350,000 house and you don't have $1,000? He told me, my mortgage guy told me to tell you, don't worry about it. So
don't worry about it.
Like I knew, like you're not gonna be able to afford this home. So we haven't had that at all. In fact, the only factor of coming into the market that we're in today of, hey, things might change, had been a global pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Prior to the global pandemic, you have responsible lending, responsible borrowing, everybody putting, legitimate down payments and proving that they're employed leading up to this event. Now, this event did trigger a loss of employment on a pretty large scale, to especially your restaurants and bars and people who are working in those industries. So there is probably a very large amount of homeowners out there right now that have opted into this forbearance program. My personal belief is I don't think the banks are going to handle that irresponsibly. And even if they did, which it wouldn't surprise me if they make some move like that to say, hey, do all now, we want all that money now. Majority of those borrowers, in my opinion, have a considerable amount of equity in their home, or that's not necessarily just going to go straight to foreclosure.
They're not walking away from that.
They would be able to sell.
Correct.
Now, in my opinion, especially with this growth we've had in the past couple of years, those borrowers, and just like I teach this in my office all the time, as we talk about the foreclosure era crisis, this era is going to be known as the multiple offer highest and best period, where every time you wanted to bid on a house, you got to go over asking, you got to waive an appraisal contingency, you got to do whatever you got to do, you got to get creative to win that bid. Yeah. If we do have some sort of correction and you were a borrower who did something like that in the past couple of years and you put minimal money down, you may find yourself in a really tough spot to sell and to pay your normal seller closing costs and to actually break even and get out. You may find yourself in a difficult position where they may be a short sale candidate. I really doubt we're going to see many foreclosures. I don't see that unless there is a combination of events. A combination of events where, okay, now the banks decided everything is due now. In addition to that, interest rates tremendous increase. You guys were talking about interest rates in the beginning. I remember when I started my career in 1999, They were talking about, can you believe the interest rate is 7.5%? This is outstanding. Rates have never been this low. And everybody was like, man, it's a great rate, 7.5%. So people today, anything under 5, don't really
Still
realize
healthy.
how fortunate they are. Like that's
Still very healthy. Like we're
outstanding rate.
spoiled. We're very spoiled with rates.
So if something happened where rates went, let's say north of 5 now, so and now you start getting a credit crunch. See, really, that's what destroyed the market last time, is the banks went into panic mode and they locked out credit. So now you had prices dropping, and you had the only people who could buy are people with cash.
Correct.
Cash investors, cash buyers only. And then they made another mistake, which I won't go too far into, but then they were assigning these properties to agents who really weren't working in the bank's best interest. They were seizing opportunities for themselves. Yes. I don't think banks will do that. I think if banks start taking inventory back, they're all going to go to auction websites so they can make sure they're getting highest and best offer and they're not being cheated. So I just really don't. It's too fresh in everyone's memory to not see a combination of the same mistakes happen all over again that are going to destroy the market unless it's intended to do so.
Right.
And if it's intended to do so, then we all become buyers. You know, and there's a lot of cash waiting on the sideline right now, waiting for something like that to maybe happen, to just come in and start scooping them all up. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, not in the foreseeable future. I agree with you, man. It's going to take a lot to have a crash, anything like 2008. But I do think we're going to see, as interest rates go up, I do think we're going to see a slowdown overall in activity in the market, as much as like, let's say we go to 4%. Well, people are, they're so used to 3% that they might feel like, oh, 4% is too high, right? Or 4.5%. And then there might be a slowdown. But ultimately, I don't think 4% is unhealthy for our mortgage market, or even 5%. I don't think is unhealthy.
I mean, I think it would kick up the purchase market, to be honest. People
like, I got to get
sellers
in.
Would start thinking, okay, right now that we're over the hill, right? It's time to sell. Last year was the most we could have got, and now we're only losing potentially, right? And to your point, Michael, I don't see like a clearance of home inventory happening. You know what I mean? It's not like it's going to be a clearance sale for all these people, with money on the sidelines, but I think there'll be a lot more opportunities, right?
We want that. And we want that. The way the market sits today is not fun for anybody. Me being a heavy listing agent, but I run a market center of 155 agents who many are buyer agents. Like, it used to be when we would go out and show a client a home, if they said, hey, I like it, like pretty much we know we got a deal. Now, if they say, hey, I like it, like the war is just getting started. Like, it's on us. Like, man, they love the house. I don't know what I got to do to get them this, because there's going to be multiple offers, and it's just not fun for anybody. So getting a more balanced market is going to be good for everybody. Because a lot of sellers on Sales Point too, there's a lot of sellers out there that I have in my inventory that are saying, I want to sell, but I don't know what I'm going to buy. I can't really find anything. I don't see anything. So if that kind of opens up a little bit, now they have more options that they can make that purchase on, then they're going to get their home on the market and sale. Will we see maybe like a level off of the appreciation and values of properties? Possibly. But
Mike, where do you see the inventory coming from, though?
Personally, I see it coming from, and it's already started, a lot of investors who owned properties. So I'm talking residential right now, not commercial.
They're cashing out?
Who now, exactly, they have tenants who've been sitting in there and taking advantage of this eviction moratorium, where they've kind of been really taking advantage of that, not paying rent, running up delinquent water. And these investors are finally going to be able to get them out, and they're going to come and reclaim a property that's just been run down. And they're going to be knowing, like, man, I know there's a heavy demand for real estate right now. Inventory is at an all-time low. Mike, sell this property for me. They're going to free up their cash, and they're going to look to get into something else. I think we're going to see loads of that hit the market within the next year, and that's going to add some inventory to the market, and it's going to be a good thing. And the only time in my 23-year history we're actually going to see investors selling to investors.
Yeah,
it's going to be investors wanting to get rid of it, with other investors coming in that got crews ready to work, that are going to tell them, I'll take it, I'll buy it, I'll rehab it, and either I'll flip it or keep it in my inventory. So that's where I see inventory coming from.
From the investor side, I could see that. I could see investors offloading their. So I can.
I was talking to someone yesterday. They said they have a portfolio of 40 homes and they're selling them all right now.
All of them, yeah. Because
it's probably the most they'll get for it.
It's the biggest premium they're going to get for all that property, right? And then move that
Possibly.
money off.
It's their gamble, right? Yeah.
It's not a bad bet with rates going
the bird in hand, right? It makes sense right now for a lot of people to sell. And even, like right now, it's when we're having these conversations with clients, even it's like, hey, you can buy this non-contingent, and put down 5% or whatever and rent your house out. A lot of people don't want to be landlords either, right?
No, a lot of people don't want to.
No, I want to take the cash, the sure bet that, hey, I've got enough money on this house I bought in 2018 to pay off all the seller fees, recoup my down payment and put an extra 10, 20, 30, 40 grand in my pocket, depending where you bought. Pretty good deal, and still potentially be able to get into a house at an interest rate under 3%, which I think the refi boom is done.
The refi boom,
it's over.
We've been on a refi boom for 3 or 4 years now.
Longer than that. Ever since I've been in the business, we've been in refi boom.
Last year when they hit the twos, it was nuts. For the first time in my career, I wrote like 50% refis. And it's scary to a degree because you look at all the bloat that all these companies have, all these mortgage companies that have so much staff and processing and underwriting to handle this. It's going to be.
We're going to see. I believe we're going to see a lot of people out of the business in the mortgage industry as rates come up. We're going to see people just leaving the industry, just like Mike in real estate. When it gets hard, you see people leaving the real estate business, right? Even now. I can't get my buyers approved. I got to fight for you saw people leaving the real estate business just because it got really hard. How do you keep your guys motivated, or how do you help them work through kind of the tough times? Because people are going to leave the industry if they don't have success, right?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we got to let them know in both of our industries, the lending and the real estate end. I want it to be tough because I know.
Agreed with you.
Easy,
I love that.
Everybody would do it, and then you're not going to have any great rewards. Great rewards come from work that's pretty tough to do. You have to be a tough individual to make it happen. If you want to live that amazing life and you want everything you want it to be tough, so I can do the duty and do the work that separates me from the pack. Now I can yield outstanding results. First and
so
foremost.
You're looking forward. It's smart. You're looking forward to it getting tougher, which is I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yep. And then we're going to always look and create the mindset that we're going to search for opportunity. In any bad times, you're going to hear the average person is going to talk like, oh my God, everything's crashing, everything's going down, and all of that talk. Like I talked with my boys 24 and 22 now when COVID was hitting. This is March. I told them, man, this is pretty scary because nobody in the world on earth has ever lived through something like this yet. But I told them, you guys watch. We're going to find opportunity. And what happened? Stock market started crashing. I've been in cryptocurrency since 2017. I absolutely love this shit. It's a passion of mine. That started crashing. So I said, we're going to get some money in here. And just from those two things right there, just been exploding and taking off since. So I teach that inside the market center. We have mindset talk and brainstorming talk all the time. We're going to find it. With life, like I said earlier, is going to deal us what it wants to deal with us. We have to be able to control our brains to figure out where are we going and how are we going to take advantage of this. And that's where I would point everybody to with that.
That's awesome, man. So now that we're going into the winter season, do you see the market going into the winter season getting more normalized, or do you see it getting like crazier because we have so many unknowns?
I don't see any slowdown. I can talk from the phone calls that I'm receiving. Sellers are still wanting to put it on the market. Typically, Michigan seasonality to me has always been Thanksgiving to the New Year. People are really going to enjoy that holiday season, but I really see everything cranking up January moving forward. I've always tried in that Thanksgiving to the New Year to kind of rest a little bit, but always improve in another category for me, whether it's hitting the gym and getting my health on track and getting a good start to the new year, reading a book, learning some new skills, just trying to do something during that time to up my game, just as a human being, for my health and for my mind.
That's awesome.
But I don't see any slowdown happening. To get back to your point, now we are going to be slow if we have excessive snow, excessive cold. That those don't bode well for our industry. But
they're saying we're gonna have a bad winter, dude, and we know our Michigan winters here. They're pretty bad.
I feel like they say that every year, like no matter what.
Yeah.
But this year we've got
going to be
La
a
Nina.
bad winter.
Last year and it didn't come true.
Yeah.
So on
every year they say it's going to be a bad winter. It doesn't matter.
The Farmer's Almanac, which is never wrong, said we're gonna have a bad winter. So
I think it was
but I was just
wrong last year. Right?
Mom and Dad get a place down there.
I think regardless, right? It's kind of like just one of those things you have, like right now, if you said, hey, where are interest rates going to be in 60 days, right? What's the snow going to be like in 60 days? I don't know.
Right.
There's forecasts, but until the day of, right? They could say it's going to rain tomorrow and thunderstorms and 50 degrees and it's 70 and sunny. Yeah. You know, you can't really predict the future. So people just kind of got to live day by day. And I think to your point, if, you know, the pie itself shrinks, how do you get a bigger piece, right? Yeah. Or how do you maintain your share? Because it will get dark for some people. And a lot of people probably just got into this business to make a lot of money really quick, you know, or thought that it was a great opportunity just to make money, not necessarily build their business. And that would be good, right?
Mike, what do you say to the people that are getting into the business like right now that are getting fresh and you? How do they get moving and how do they start, you know, getting success early as opposed to, you know, because it's a tough business. I always say it takes a year in real estate to actually understand what you're doing, even, you know what I mean? How do you get your people kind of moving in the right direction early?
First off, they have to have the right mentality, and I give them a formula, and that formula is consistent effort over time will guarantee you success in our industry. Now, when they think of time, I tell them, we're not talking 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Don't come and see me in 3 months and say, I've been doing this for 3 months and it's not working out. No, I'm talking years. Like you have to make that commitment that I'm going to do consistent effort over the next few years and consistently deliver a constant work ethic, routine, trying to improve myself, and then you are going to be successful. So they need to start there. Then they have to understand that we are service providers. A lot of people in our industry, and I actually was thinking about reaching out to Lara on this and changing our licenses. They say real estate salespersons like that. We're not a home. You're not actually, the home sells itself. We're providing a service. I'm not selling like a shirt you don't need or some socks or jewelry or anything like that. They need to make this purchase. They need to provide a home. They need shelter. So we're providing a service. If you take the mentality that I'm a service provider and I'm going to provide superior service, one client after another, they're going to start spreading the word about you and your business will start to grow. And then utilize social media. Like I used to have to take out a $500 quarter page ad in the Dearborn Pressing Guide per week.
Yeah,
that I can run that on Instagram or Facebook now for free daily. And I can meet so many agents that they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't like social media. I don't want to. You can't be an anonymous real estate agent. You have to put yourself out there.
You have to put yourself out there in our business. Yeah, but some people are really kind of freaked out by that. But I do agree that it's funny that you say that. Back in the day, to get your name out there at all, you had to go in the free press and pay for an ad. Now you can just do it through social media.
All right, it's free.
It's unreal. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Utilizing the tools around you, I think, is really big, right, Mike? Like there's things around us, and to your point, consistent action over a period of time, you're basically outworking the competition. That's really what you want to do. Is just be more consistent and outwork your competition, and then you will be just fine and successful. So, what do you see for Keller Williams Legacy? Like, what are you guys trying to do? You're at 155 agents now. How many agents do you want to have? Are you at the number that you're happy with? Are you looking to expand?
Yeah, we are looking to expand. So the goal is to get our main market center, downtown West Dearborn, to 300 agents. And then I wanna actually extend to our backyard, which is downriver. There is no KW Market Center down there, so we're looking to extend back and down there, and also have a couple smaller satellite offices. I want to get one into the East Dearborn, which is very, very dear into my heart. They can use an establishment there that really focuses on training and culture and doing things the right way and improving. So we are looking to grow. I've been, I've kind of been waiting for this moment my whole life. And now that it's here, I really have got my foot to the pedal, and I just want to, really make amazing things happen and take as many people along for that ride with me that I can.
That's awesome, man. What do you see for Dearborn going into the spring and next year? Do you see Dearborn changing much? Do you see it growing? Do you see it staying the same? What do you see for the city of Dearborn?
We will have a new mayor, which a lot of people in the city are excited about. There's 2 candidates now. One of them will be new. I think Dearborn is just it's a melting pot of what the United States is on a very microscopic level, and I always have high hopes and high beliefs for our community, and it's a place that I call home and that I love. I've never really, thought about what does it look like moving forward in the future, because I just have a lot of faith in the leaders of our community that they're always pushing it forward and it's growing. And I'm actually honored to be considered one of those people.
Yeah, I will tell you that your Dearborn, it's a close community, and it basically has its own economy. I mean, it is kind of crazy. The way that the Dearborn is set up and the way that it is, you've got a lot of entrepreneurs in Dearborn. A lot of entrepreneurs.
I have a lot of them in my market center. The average age in our market center of those 155 agents is 27.
Wow,
so we have a lot of them there, and I'm so excited for them. They are talented. They are good people. They're future leaders, and I'm really excited for them.
That's amazing, man. Well, listen, we're getting close to the end of the show. This is where we ask you 3 random questions, Mike. You can answer them obviously any way you want. They're totally at random. First question we'll ask you is, what scares Mr. Michael Phillips?
What scares me is letting the doubters of me be right.
You have doubters, Mike? You got some haters out there?
I wouldn't be doing anything special if we didn't have them.
If you didn't have, that's what they say, right? If you don't have haters, that means you're not doing much.
Letting them be proven right terrifies me.
That's good. Sal, Brad, any questions that you guys have rolling around in your head? No? All right.
Being from the area, not me, but you, right? And a wealth of different food around you. If you had to eat one food the rest of your life, what would it be?
You have some good food, Mike.
Once a day, you have to eat it. You can eat other stuff, but you have to eat this meal every day.
That's easy. So it's called mojilla. It's rice with, it looks like, it's kind of like spinach, but it's not spinach. It's a leaf. It's a greeny leaf. It's mixed with like chicken, and you spice it up with like red pepper flakes, lemon, and you eat it with the Arabic bread. It's my favorite.
How do you spell it? I'm gonna Google it.
Sounds like we're getting this today.
MOULKIEH, and it should come up. And it's got to be homemade though, man. So you guys got to come to Dearborn and let it be homemade from either my wife, my mom, or some other of our loved relatives that know how to do it right.
It's got to be done homemade. Some dishes don't translate well to the restaurant.
I can do that daily though.
Yeah,
daily. Yeah,
that's awesome. It's okay.
Probably healthier than pizza too, right?
Pizza.
It's healthier than pizza.
Oh yeah, I could do pizza daily almost as well, but yeah, that wouldn't be good on our belly.
Yeah. What's your favorite restaurant in Dearborn?
Man,
there's so many good restaurants.
I'd say so. La Pita is my go-to because they're right around the block from us, and they have a nice outdoor area where I like to sit. La Pita is my go-to, but there are just so many.
I'm big on Tahamas.
Really, to be honest with you guys, I love eating at home. And I'm blessed with the home cooking. It's just top notch. I don't really go out that much.
I really like Tahamas subs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I love Tahamas subs.
You guys got to come down for lunch one day.
We will, bro. We'll come by and check it out. We would love to. That's awesome. We haven't been in Dearborn in a minute.
There you go.
Natalie brought it up. Is that it right there?
That's it.
That looks good.
That's it, man. You gotta get some red pepper flakes on that, and you're all set.
Look at that. Good job, Natalie, bringing that up. Anything that you want to leave us with before you go, man?
Just always find opportunity in anything. There's never, and for our industry as well. So I wear many hats. One is the real estate salesperson, broker, but the other is the broker leader of people. So the leader of people is going to tell when, like, I get agents, so many, not only from my market center, but even from outside, especially when COVID hit, they would be calling me, what's going to happen? I heard the market is going to crash. There is no such thing as a real estate market crash for us as the service providers, because you're only talking about, like, right now we got the greatest sellers market of all time. And if there were a crash, then you're going to have one of the greatest buyers markets. So we're in the middle putting transactions together.
Yeah.
We're always going to be busy. You got to just flip your head and understand what's the environment so we can have the proper conversations of who, strategy wise, am I a seller? Am I a buyer? And how do I need to think in this climate? And how do I need to act? There is no crash for us as the service providers. So always don't listen. I don't watch news, guys. Like, really, I don't.
Yeah.
I become aware of what's going on, but I'm not dug in watching the news. Because a lot of it is just
negative.
It's not healthy for my mind.
Right.
So understand what's going on. How am I positioning myself, whether I'm the real estate agent or a gentleman like yourself in the lending institution? How am I positioning myself in these conversations, and then act accordingly, be a professional, and achieve that success. 1, 2, there is no fail. And anything that we set out to do, either we're going to, 1, achieve our desired result, or 2, learn a lesson. So you're either going to get the job done and earn a commission, or you're not going to earn a commission, but you learned a lesson. So you take that mindset. Either one of these two things is going to happen, and you're going to kill it.
Yeah. Failure is not real if you look at failure as an opportunity to learn, right? So I love that mentality, man. You've got a really good, great mentality and a great outlook on everything. We'll have you back on the show, but tell the audience how they can get a hold of you, man.
You guys call my office anytime, 313-752-0000. The ladies will love to get you in touch with me. My email address, Mike_Phillips@kw.com. And those are the two best ways.
I love it, man. Next time we're in Dearborn. What's that?
I just saw an ad or one of your signs maybe in a front yard or something with that phone number. And I was like, it stuck out to me. I was like, that is a unique phone number.
Say that number again.
313-752-0000.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Next time we're in Dearborn, man, we got to break some bread together. I would love it.
I'd love to have you guys. Thanks for having me on. That was a lot of fun. My first ever podcast, by the way. I enjoyed it.
You killed it. You killed it. It was awesome.
Thank
you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much, man. Have a wonderful day, dude.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
That guy was refreshing, man. That was super refreshing. Like, you could tell he just got a good head on his shoulders, just very positive, doesn't look at negativity too much. Just I like that. Right?
I like that he turned me and Sal onto a new food that we're gonna try.
Right?
Yeah, we got it, dude. We got to order from Dearborn tomorrow.
Good. Yeah, it does look good.
Right?
A good guy. I think that's a good point. I mean, you gotta with everything going on. I mean, above and beyond like your business, there's so much stuff to hear to get down about or worried about or paranoid about, and you kind of just got to realize like they'll all be all right.
Yeah,
and there's going to be an answer or a solution to it, but you don't need to necessarily know that right now.
Yeah, I like the way he put it. Like, we're in the service industry, so it depends on where the business is. There's always going to be some transactions happening, right? So it's a very positive outlook on something that could potentially be a negative mindset. You know what I mean? So that was good. You guys got anything you want to add before we end the show?
Nope.
Awesome. So for those of you that have stuck around, thank you for listening to another episode of our show. Please go to IRE Podcast, or go to Facebook/IRE Podcast, or go to iTunes and find us there, and like, subscribe, share. Please leave us a review if you like the show. It means a lot to us. You can also write into our show at info@irepodcast.com. And for those of you that didn't like the show, you never have to tune in again. So have a wonderful day, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.